competition, regional, national, world level. Right now we've got a level beginner all the way up to the champion here for you. And we just have 30 minutes of complete dancing for you. So I hope you guys enjoy.
You got your own band, man.
That's right.
Yeah, orchestra.
Thank you very much.
He got his own orchestra, doesn't he? That was great.
Thank you.
What about MacArthur Road?
Yeah, we haven't played that in a long time.
In E, right?
It is the.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a heavy one.
Well, yeah, it's
That's the whole.
Did you bring your snark?
caused by one of my irritating was fine. So I went to Enterprise, who's an herbalist, and she says, don't eat that, because first thing she asked me, what do you eat? And I said, and she says, eat chicken soup and vegetables. And I did for a month and it was fine.
She tried a diet with her and it didn't work.
Stress?
Yes, they're not being able to do it. They wouldn't do it and it continued.
She is so
Almost waited too long.
Yeah. But she has to use
Way to go, Jody.
Probably gonna wind up using some tongs.
Back in the old days, every town and village would have a blacksmith shop.
Yeah.
He was a very important man. He made tools for the other craftsmen, for the carpenter, the bricklayer, the stonemason, the wagon maker, tools for the household, for the farm. He had a lot of people. We made a couple of sets of andirons for the houses around here. You can see some of that work. That's a hearth cooking trivet right here. Put your hot coals under here in your pot or your skillet. So that's typical of the blacksmith's work.
Did you make that one?
Yes, we made this.
Well, almost got that too hot. I wasn't paying attention. All right, it's starting to burn. Let me get on it. I'm gonna hammer a taper. Taking this round material out to it, a square taper. The hammer is working one side of the material and the anvil is working the other. All right. For this job, that's enough taper. Okay, so I've got a taper in there. It still has some heat in it. You wouldn't want to touch it. It's probably I'd say 400 or 500 degrees. So I have to go back and put more heat in it. And what we're going to do in this operation is just do a little turn down on that taper. And that the usefulness of this will become obvious later. I'll say it that way. All right. So we got it hot enough for this operation. We're just going to knock that end down and then bring it back. Just a couple of light taps. So now we have what we call a rat tail on the end of that, okay? So I'm going to cool that because that piece is thinner. It will burn faster than the thicker portions of the parent stock. You hear that sizzle? It was hot, no doubt. All right, we'll go back into the fire. And we're going to heat
Come right in. Come on
about
in.
that much of the end of that piece with the rat tail on it. And I'm going to bend a radius.
What is this big thing right here? What is this thing here?
On it.
What is that?
forge.
That's the forge.
Oh, okay.
The blacksmith works in his forge, get his iron red hot, so it's soft and malleable, and he can shape it on the anvil with his hammer. Come in, come in. Young folks, come right over here. Stand right in here, so everybody can see.
All right. We're making an S hook, so we have half of our finished product here. So in theory, I will do everything again that I just did, exactly the way I did it. Now, if you believe that, I'll sell you some land, but I will try to get close to do exactly what I did getting to this point. But that's part of it. That's part of the challenge, and also part of the beauty. It's handmade, not stamped by a machine. Okay, so here we go again. We're going to heat this unworked end of that piece of stock, and we're going to hammer out that paper. Everyone having a good day?
Yes.
All right. Glad to hear it.
He's making a hook, I'm making a nail.
Swing through here. Excuse me.
I'm having a good day because I get to play, and I'm here with all of you talking about it.
Come in,
All right, so here we go.
come in, come in.
All right. I want to back them up just a wee bit. All right. Now, we're working that taper. Just light hammer blows. You don't have to be a beast to do this work. All right, I'm going to work that a little bit more. I'm not completely happy with that. Put a little more heat into it. And it was still hot. It was still 500 degrees. But oh yeah, it doesn't take long. Yeah. Now a small piece like that loses heat quicker, but it'll also gain heat quicker. See, we're back. That's 1,200, 1,400 maybe. And as I'm talking, I'm losing heat. That's okay.
That's a nail header. That's used to make the head on the nail. I'll use another one like it, but you can pass that around and look at it.
So now, out of this piece of round stock, I have a square-ish, notice I said ish, paper. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm not seeing it as well as I'd like to, but that's okay. All right, so now, still hot, not hot enough to work the next portion. We're going to heat it back up, and we're going to do another rat tail, okay? And this is where I have to think, because you want the rat tail going the right way. It hurts when I think. All right, starting to sparkle, which means it was about to burn. All right, we're just going to knock that end down and bring it back for us. And we have another rat tail. Okay, I'm going to cool that. It's more vulnerable to heat and being hit. And I'll be a son of a gun. I turned it the wrong way. I wasn't thinking. But that's okay. We can change it.
It's going to be the length of my nail. We made this from a jackhammer bit because it's real hard steel, high carbon steel.
I started talking and I lost my process.
Oh.
The hook goes.
Nick Saban would not be happy with me. I didn't follow the process. But I'm gonna execute the process here, and we're gonna keep in mind we're making an S hook.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, okay?
You've heard of having too many irons in the fire? That's a little bit of
I will not tell you that I never make a mistake when I'm not talking, but I can almost guarantee you I will make mistakes when I'm running my mouth instead of my brain. All right, so we cooled that, and we're going to work a radius around the horn of the anvil. Yes. Well, it is going to be an S hook, and you are a great segue into what I'm about to ask everybody. Now my goal here is to make an S hook. All right. I'm going to ask all of you, consider this. Have I achieved my goal? Have I made an S hook? No. I've made a C hook. Okay? So how are we going to turn the C hook into an S hook? Well,
It's into the center and turn one of the edges around.
yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that this is round stock and not square. And I did truly make a mistake this time, but usually when I'm working with square stock, I'll set myself up for what we're about to do here. Because what we're going to do, as this gentleman said, we're going to heat the middle, and we're going to turn that C into an S. Get a little more heat here. That's enough. All right. So the jaws of the vise, we're going to hold that in. I'm going to take this handy dandy tool called the twisting wrench, which I wasn't set up to use. See if I can get there quick enough. And twist. Again, it's hot.
Will it be weaker because it's been twisted?
No, it'll hold a.
Whatever you want to know.
It won't hold a Chevy 350 small block, but it'll hold a bundle of rope or a saddle or a cooking pot. So there we go.
Neat.
We turn that S hook into a C hook. Now again, if it had been square, I'll show you the effect. If that material had been square. Now this is cool to the touch. And I promise you, I did this one time. I said, it's cool to the touch, and this person asked me, is it really cool? And I said, yeah. It's dirty. If you will, pass that around. Twisting. If that material had been square instead of round, you would have gotten this effect if we'd have turned it a couple of times.
You do that for decoration, not for...
Yeah, it's no structural thing. It's strictly for aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I don't know, has everyone heard what we're doing here today? What we're really doing?
Tell us.
Okay, I'll tell you. We are making chain. Okay? We're making chain, and this is not a forging operation. This is cut and bend and join. But we're making this chain for to put around one of the statue up around the visitor center.
Pass this pair around, that's what we're making.
There's a landscaped area across from that statue that already has what I'm about to describe to you here, or show you. We take these, called stanchions, okay, that we make, and we drive them in the ground around some area that we want to define the boundary for. And then we just lay these chains in there. So this is what we're up to today.
Do you vary the length of it aesthetically or just...
Just strictly to give it a little, aesthetics. Just to make it more appealing, I think, to the eye than just...
I'm gonna make a loop like he's showing you. I'm gonna make a loop with this jig right here.
I really admire this piece of work here. We didn't do it. It's one of the former smiths. He did all this by hand. He didn't use one of these jigs that I've made. But they're all virtually the same. But I just wanted short, long, short, long.
Yeah.
Neat.
So these are some of our products. Other products that you might see around the park. We have, I think, 3 sets of andirons in the various houses. They were not made in this shop, but Ron and I made them. Another item that we're kind of proud of, and we, if for no other reason because of how many we've made, are these banner stands. We've made somewhere between 35 and 40 of these things, and it looks pretty simple, and it is pretty simple, but there's one trick to it. 1/2-inch square material. The upright, we taper it, put a taper on this end, very slight, and then this arm, you can see it's a little unwieldy here. This arm is also 1/2-inch square material, and we work a scroll, small scroll here, big scroll here. Of course, the banner is here, but we join these two pieces by running the upright through a socket in the arm. Okay. Well, what's kind of cool about that is this is 1/2-inch square. This is 1/2-inch square. Guess what? You got to have at least a 1/2-inch square, slightly oversized hole to put this up through there. So how you do it? Well, we didn't drill it. We do what you call a punch and drift operation. So we start small. We pierce the metal. We get all the way through it, and then we make the hole bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's typically round at that point, and then we take a square drift and we drift it square, slightly oversized, so that you can get this piece of stock in here. So all of this was handmade, handmade, of course. Traditional methods is what I'm trying to say. Except we cheated. When we put this arm on the upright, we got a friend of ours, a guy named Mr. Miller, is in Miller Electric, Miller Welding. That's a brand of welder. Mr. Miller helped us, and we tack welded once we put the arm on here. Now there are several methods to ensure this doesn't move traditionally. You could put collars on here, just pieces of metal wrapped around, or making the metal thicker on the bottom and the top to hold it. But we wanted to make it people-proof, if you will. Those can fail depending on how well you do them. So yeah. So again, another very functional to the museum, very functional product that we produce.
Does that bar what weight will it hold?
Oh gosh,
Like if a little
are you an Auburn fan or an Alabama fan, or something else?
Alabama,
Well, it'll hold an Alabama banner. It'll also hold an Auburn banner too.
but not a small child.
No, I wouldn't want to hang a small child from this. Yeah. Well, let me rephrase that.
You might want to, but you won't do it.
Yeah. There may have been a few that I've encountered
Yeah.
that probably could be hung from it, but no, it's it'll get springy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But for a banner, it's great.
All the small children.
We have one of these in my front yard, and it hangs off, change of the season banners, whatever my wife decides we're going to hang this one. But I wish we could hang a banner that says "Rattlesnakes beware." Keep out. They don't read too well sometimes.
So when you get up first thing in the morning and you come out here, what do you do to get it started? The right temperature? What do you use?
Well, good question. The fire pot is a cast iron vessel. It's slanted, and that's where the coal sits, and that's where it burns. It's called a fire pot. I think I'm repeating myself here, using the same word over and over again. But we just wad up newspaper, If you have some really dry shavings, or that'd be great as kindling, but you like building a campfire. And matches, and you know, I don't know if we've said this to you all, but you know, we have a functional bellows. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we also have an electric blower in the back, and we're using that. We're busy hammering. We don't want to be yanking on this thing all day. Now, maybe if we had a young, child, an apprentice, and that's how blacksmiths got started. Is a young person, typically a male back then, could be very young, 5, 6 years old. No child labor laws, that sort of thing. That would be how they got started. They'd tug on this thing all day, and as they got older, they'd maybe graduate to making nails, which is good practice for a lot of basic operations. And then they, depending on what the shop did, what their forte.
So they had specialties the shops did?
Yeah, I have not done, I'll be straight with you, I've not done a lot of reading on that, but I would say so. There were some shops that were shoeing shops. They would shoe horses. Others wouldn't, for instance, but there might be some shops that were specialized, their specialty, like a restaurant, they have specialties. They might specialize in lighting, be it, candelabras or candle stands, or, Juan, where's your lighting piece? That you
Say
have?
again?
Your candle holder.
Oh, it went around.
Oh,
It's
when I
right
say
here.
lighting, in the context of blacksmithing, well, here's it's not a plug-in light, it's a candle holder, blacksmith made. And, the candle sits here and you can shove it into the wall or whatever. So a shop might make lighting, another shop might make hinges as their specialty, what they were known for. It just depends. We try to be the jack of all trades here with what they need. But, frankly, what they need is relatively simple. I mean, these things aren't that hard to do when you've done a couple of dozen of them.
So how do you know if you got the right temperature to start doing whatever you're doing?
When you're able to get the stock hot enough to work, and you judge that generally by color. So, it starts out, it's, rusty or gray or black or whatever, depending on your eyesight. And, the hotter it gets, the brighter it gets. When it gets yellow, white, and it starts to sparkle, well, it's starting to burn. At that point, you pull it out and you hit it, or you pull it and burn it up. Now, we'll say this, forge welding, hammer welding, you're joining two pieces together, you get them white hot, and one piece of blacksmithing lore says when the metal starts to sparkle, it's saying weld me. So you pull the two pieces out, and again, you don't hit it for all your work. Light taps. Okay, you don't have, like I say, you don't have to be a beast to do this. So I think that speaks to temperature. I mean,
Right.
when the fire gets hot enough to accomplish that.
Right.
If I'm working with something that's 1/4 inch, it's going to get to a forging heat, 1800 degrees, bright orange to light yellow, we'll say. Okay. It's going to get to that temperature a lot faster than a piece of 1 inch round, which we've worked with. We've made some andirons out of 1 inch round stock.
Yeah, okay.
These are forged welds. You can see they're unfinished, but that's okay because you can see how it's going. So to have a look at that, and that's forged welding, what he was talking about.
And what's the purpose of your blower there? Just keep the fire hotter, or?
The fire is very steady.
Right.
Yeah, well, like a campfire or your barbecue grill, the more air it has, the hotter it's going to burn.
Right.
Okay, so that's the function of or the goodness of the blower. Well, the goodness of the blower is I'm not yanking on this. I've got a source of air without working for it.
In your opinion, what are some of the best mediums to work with metal-wise?
You can put it on that shelf.
You know, I'm not a good one to answer that question, but I will take a stab at it. We're just working with mild steel, and a lot of the stuff I've shown you, you know, that we use around here, it's yard art.
Yeah.
You know, it's functional, decorative things. Mild steel's fine. Now, if you're making tools, like there's all kinds of, you know, tool steels. H13 heat resistant, S7 is shock resistant. It just depends on what tool you're making and what that tool is intended to do. Good question, though.
I've always been fascinated by it, so.
Yeah, and I'll say this: you can learn a lot on YouTube.
Oh, I've been watching YouTube videos on metallurgy and forging. Most of the videos online that are dealing with modern forges, where they have like a blowtorch blowing into a bucket, where they're melting either copper down or they're heating up steel.
Yeah.
So,
What's that rod, ma'am?
Oh, here, let me be useful. Just don't tell Karen that I'm being useful. She'll expect me to be
yeah,
useful.
there's not just not a lot of videos on that.
Oh, thanks.
The ones I really can find are honestly Japanese.
If you don't mind, I'd like to get just a few small pieces out of this to do some more of these.
Yeah, like forging
Yes,
guitar or
yeah,
doing
out of
it
this.
over and over and over.
Yeah, if we
What
can.
length you want?
Yeah, eyeball this. We'll guesstimate it after I put my readers on. Well, gotta get in the right light here. About 9 inches would be sufficient. If you're interested in learning blacksmithing, again, YouTube videos are great. There's no substitute for doing, but I tell you, reading. Get yourself some good books. There's a local blacksmithing organization, Alabama Forge Council. There is a group here in the Huntsville area. There's others here from other parts of the state or near, out of state, but nearby. You know, there's a group over in Athens, there's one in Mobile, around Birmingham. There's several.
Yeah, there's one in Tanny Hill too, up there.
Yeah, that's
in
where
Bessemer.
we have our annual conference.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to go to, and it's the weekend after Labor Day every year, I believe. See a lot of really good blacksmiths, and they bring in featured demonstrators. And they hold workshops. He and I have attended workshops where we've made bistro tables, and that was a week long making the tables, but we spent a week prior making the tools to make the table. You know,
Yeah, Tanny Hill had classes too for people that want to learn
and
blacksmith.
blacksmithing's being taught here at Burritt as well. Down in the other, there's another forge shop here on campus,
Okay.
crossing the parking lot. This is a nice shop to do casual demonstrations in, but yeah, it's better to have a little more room and more tooling than we keep here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being.
These are pipes you always see, and you actually saw in the movie Braveheart, but you only heard them played in one place. If you want to hear the instrument that was actually played through Braveheart, it's that Irish set sitting on the case right there. And the reason is this has a range of about 1 octave and 1 note. It does have a range of about 2 octaves. And it's a lot more pleasant if you're sitting in an orchestra to be next to one of those than these. It's going to take me just a second to get in tune. Scott Spot Hay with Wallace Bled, which almost became their national anthem. But it turned out some guy wrote a tune they wrote as a pop tune in the 70s. It's probably the leading contender right now, although they still don't have one. This next tune is kind of an ironic tune. There was a well-known piper named McCrimmon who played for the McLeods. He was the chief piper for the McLeods, and they were Jacobites. And this was right around the time of Culloden. In fact, the night before Culloden, McCrimmon had a premonition he was going to die the next day because he knew a big battle was coming. And so he wrote this tune, and I don't know if he notated it or played it for somebody, but he went out later that night on a patrol to see where the English were and was killed in a friendly fire incident. There were two patrols out, and in the dark they attacked each other. He was the only one killed. Of course, the next day at Culloden, things went much worse. So this is the tune he played. Unfortunately, it was very accurate premonition.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. For some reason, normally when it gets damp like this, they play easier, but it's acting real stiff today. I'm just about squeezing my sides in, trying to put pressure in it. So, I wonder if it's just me. That's the south wind.
Okay.
Now for the Highland pipes, we'll need to stand outside because if I do it under this roof, it will kill everybody in the other porch.
Let me make sure it ain't
It's not
raining.
raining.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I didn't want you to.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's an instrument that was brought up in a desert country.
Yes, sir. I watched that movie. What was it? Robert the Bruce, the new one that came out.
Oh, Braveheart when it came out?
Well, I like Braveheart with
Yeah.
Mel Gibson in,
Oh,
but Robert the Bruce.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I saw the one called Rob Roy. It had Liam Neeson in it.
Right, yeah. I don't remember where I seen Robert the Bruce. It was on TV. I don't know whether it was on Netflix. I think it was on
Could have
Netflix.
been, and I could see why they did it because I mean he was as great a hero to Scotland as Wallace ever was.
Yeah, but my thing with Robert the Bruce is he changed side.
Well, yeah, he gave in, and he was under a lot of pressure because, like they said, all the nobility in Scotland had.
Can you tell me how that works?
Certainly. We have a pattern underneath here, which is called a pricking.
Yes, ma'am.
And the bobbins are the little sticks here which hold thread while I work. And there are two movements and 2 stitches, could be 3 depending on if you're in England or somewhere else.
The movements are regardless of the number of bobbins you have on your pillow, you only work with 4 at a time. So we have 2 movements. Cross to the right, twist the bobbins to the left. That is a half stitch. In my world, if I do that again, I have a whole stitch. Okay? The only other stitch that I have is a cross, twist, cross, which is a linen or a cloth stitch. So what you get if you do a half stitch is this. If you do a linen stitch, you get something that looks actually like cloth. And if you do the whole stitch, you get something much tighter, which they usually put on the ends because that's where you get the most wear.
Okay.
All right. This is a spider motif, typical to torchon lace, which is what I'm doing here. And there's a sewing edge on this side, which allows you to, gives you a good guide for attaching to a garment or a piece of cloth of some sort, you know. So that's what it is.
Gotcha.
Day back when this is 15th, 16th century stuff, y'all. But you can change up, like, because they didn't have copy machines back in those days, you know, so they had to do it on parchment paper with India ink. So what they would do is they made I don't know who developed this idea, I have no clue. But anyway, you can change this and make it a half stitch, or you can make these whole stitches, half stitches, cloth stitches. You can change the design. You can even change a little bit in the ground. And then you can use the same pattern. This pattern, this is what they call a roller pillow. So I can keep making it, and as I find a use for it, I just cut it off and use it.
Most of it.
But it's kind of a nifty idea.
So how long does it take to like go an inch?
About an hour. This one, because there's so many bobbins on it, you have to see I've got bobbins on sticks. I'm about through with this section. I'll put this section on sticks and move them out of the way so that I can work on this side. You're never working completely across. You're working in sections. So I'm attaching the sections. You can see we're over here now. I have to come way back up here, which I normally don't do. But it depends on the size of the section too. But anyway, I got to come way back up here and do my ground and my sewing edge and then do this because I have to start attaching these threads to make it go over here. So you're never going all the way across. And I don't know if you were here when I was explaining the movements. You only work with 4 in your hand at one time. There's just a cross and a twist for the half stitch, cross and a twist for the whole stitch. And the linen stitch or cloth stitch is cross, twist, cross. So that's the only 3 little stitches you can
Oh, well, that's it? Oh, that makes it much easier.
Yeah. So, but see, that's what you're going to get when you do that. This is a weaving, like you see on a big loom, you know, it's just using bobbins, and we're just going over and under in the movement of the bobbins.
I'll stick to the rugs next door.
Okay.
That is.
But you're kind of weaving the rugs, aren't you?
Well, yeah, but that's like one big weave.
Yeah, I know.
This is intimidating.
Yeah, that's why I bring this. Now, this was my very first pillow. Okay. My mother sat me down in the heat of the day in Pensacola and said, okay, let's try this. So we tried it. And this is what you start out with. You don't go to that right away. So again, here we have the same deal though, but you can see the movement of, I give the children the colors. I love it when I get over to both white ones and then they don't know what to do. Okay, so cross, twist, cross. This we're doing a linen stitch, linen stitch. Cross, twist, cross. Cross, twist, cross. Cross, twist, cross. Cross, twist, cross. So I've done my row. So I twist my bobbins 2 times and I put a little pin. The pins hold it in place while you're working. There's a half hitch on the bobbins, so you just lengthen them like that. If it gets too long, because you kind of want them together, you can adjust it. So that's why all those silly pins. They also stand good for dividers. These are continental bobbins. In England, they have beaded bobbins. They have little rounded beads at the bottom of them. I think I have one in my bag. But anyway, you can use those beads to stack them with these big pins. It's kind of nifty. And they don't roll as much as these. So anyway, then I just go back. because I've got a little zigzag deal going on here. However, I don't have that little zigzag, like I was saying earlier. I can change it up. So if I wanted to do a half stitch, I would go ahead and put a little twist on there to make a dividing line between the two stitches, and then we'll just go cross twist, cross twist, cross twist, cross twist, cross twist, and one more twist because that already had a twist, and then we'll put another pin. And I'm going back and forth like that. So cross twist, cross twist, cross twist, cross twist. At the end, cross twist, one extra twist. You want to have 2 twists around the pin. Kind of keeps it tighter, doesn't get floppy, and it doesn't catch on anything.
That's what I was going to ask. You just put the pins in there to keep it in place, and then when you're done with it, you take all the pins out.
Right, see? All the pins are gone. Not a problem. I've had people tell me, back in the day I was using brass pins, and so I was making something, I forget what it was. And I said, yeah, I'll be finished in a little while, and then I can take out all the pins. He goes, why? They look pretty. So we'll do another row. Then I'll show you one more stitch if you've got time. Now, since this is already twisted, I don't have to make an extra twist to define the sections. So this is the other stitch. Cross, twist, cross, twist. You can see how much, and now watch.
You see, get twice as much done that one.
Well, it's just a sturdier stitch. Cross, twist, twist. And you can see when I did the half stitch, a lot of people will look at this and they'll say, oh, your bobbins are, sometimes they're the beaded ones especially, you'll bead them as a pair with the same beads, you know, so they look the same. Oh, your bobbins tell you what to do. No. You got to look up here. It's like typing, you know. You got to look at your threads, because when you do the half stitch, your bobbins separate.
Oh, yeah.
See, they separated. They weren't the same.
Well, yeah, because when you started, all the red were together.
Yeah, exactly, and now they're not. So that's the deal. You got to kind of look up here. But those are the 3 stitches, and it's just how you use them. And it's up to the lace maker. She can do whatever she wants to. You know, if you get a pattern and you don't like that one, just change it.
Okay. Just like that. Huh?
Yeah, see, it's not that hard. Except I missed a pin right here.
They all want to do that. Yeah. I said, no, that's how we're tossing. I'm sorry.
Y'all want to do it their own way.
Yep.
So you want to demonstrate the other ones?
Oh, the other one, I tell them they can do whatever they want to do. They can twirl around. Some of the girls really like to do that and release it. Or the boys just like to throw it out there.
That's a hammer throw, yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's what we do.
Such a beautiful area here.
Yep.
So how do you do the potatoes? Is that?
Oh, it's just it's a little bit of a balance thing for the kids.
You have to run.
Coordination and balance.
Oh, you have to run with it.
Yeah. Walk with it.
So if you drop it, then you have to stop and pick it up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right.
Okay. Awesome.
It's amazing when we do children's field trips up here, especially the littler ones. We try to add in something for balance and coordination, because they don't always have a lot of that now growing up.
Yeah, they're working on their cell phones now. I know, it's ridiculous.
Yay, and the crowd goes crazy. We have 3 events today, okay? And they're all silly events. And I guarantee each and every one of you will get a prize at the end of the 3 events. So the first event we're going to do today is called a weight toss. And what I'm going to demo it a little bit, and then I'm going to have 2 lines formed, because I have 2 of these that we can do. Now, traditionally, in the Highland Games, there would be quite a weighted portion to this. This is very light, so it's going to be very fun to throw. But it is, in the traditional games, they would throw it, and it would really weigh a lot, and they would try to throw it as far as they could. And everybody has a different way to throw it. And I'm going to leave it up to each and every one of you how you want to throw it. One of
just twirl it. And that gets you up to speed, and then you release it. And you release it out that way. And another way that people like to throw it is just simply throwing it that way. So however it is easiest for you, you can do that. In the actual Highland Games, they would measure distances. And of course that they would award the person who throws it the farthest. Today we're not going to worry about distances. It's going to be just a fun competition. So I'm going to use 2 lines. One line meter over here. For one line, people can be here. And another line here. Okay? And it doesn't matter what line you go in, okay? So, each person's going to get 1 throw, and then we'll move on to the next event, which then I'll explain too. When it's your turn to come throw the weight toss, you're going to come up here to the blue dots, and first people can do that. The reason I had that person come up here is that way when they're starting to throw the weight, the ball, they won't hit anybody, okay? So here's yours, and here's yours. And I do ask, it'll go faster if after you've tossed your weight, that you go retrieve it, and then you can hand it to the next person in line. Okay, you guys ready? All right, let's toss our weights. Okay, it doesn't matter, you can go whenever you want to, okay? That's okay. All right, that's all right. Very good. Okay. All right, you can go get your weights. And we got our next participants here. All right. Okay, ready? Oops, woo! Why don't you try it again? That kind of slipped. I think it slipped a little bit. Oh well, that's okay. Good job, everybody. All right, good job. Okay, next person. Oh, wow. You got some muscles on you. Good job. You want to go get it, please? Thank you. That saves me a little bit. All right. An adult, which is going to be the caper toss. Okay, this one's going to be really silly again. Now, normally, in actual Highland Games, these would be big, long, heavy logs that people, and it would take all their muscles, and they would get out there on the field, and their whole object is they're holding it this way, and with all their strength, they're making it go up, all right? And that's how they would throw the log. Now, I can guarantee you, I wouldn't be able to do that with a log. But you guys will be able to throw it this way, and our version is just with swim noodles. But I do want you to get the whole idea of the toss like this, okay? So, well, again, we'll start from the blue dots. Okay, you ready? We're gonna throw it up. Okay, it's not as easy as it looks. Very good. Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, there you go. Okay. Very good. All right. Yeah. You can do it again if you want. It's not easy. Very good. Woo! Good job. Good job. Yeah, you can try again if you want. It's not All right. And the wind is not helping. Yeah, it is. You want to try that again? Because the branch kind of got it. Very good. Good job. That was excellent. Is more again, not for strength necessarily, but for balance and coordination. Okay? And that's important these days. What you're going to do,
Why don't you just take her over there?
you're going to take a spoon, and potatoes were very important to the Celtic lands, Ireland, and all of that. So, in honor of today, we're going to do a coordination balance thing where we're going to just walk our potato down here and say it over.
It's okay.
That's perfectly okay. Pick up our potato, balance it again, and we're going to walk down here. Once you get to the red dots, we're going to turn around. And for the little ones, if they want to hold it with two hands, of course they can. So this will be easier for some people than others, and that's okay. But we all need to know how to balance. Sometimes there's a flatter section on the table. And we're going to walk. Go ahead. And I don't consider it a race. I consider it just get your balance. It's a balancing act, not a race. Okay. And don't feel bad if it falls. It's okay. Good job. Look, buddy, you're doing great. Wait here. All right. It's okay. It's all so fast. Yeah.
Good job.
Wow, she's doing good.
Oh,
get it. All right.
Good job. Up to 12 feet.
Some of the older you get, the easier this becomes with balance. When you first get really little, you gotta learn how to balance.
And then you get old and then it's harder then.
You're right. Absolutely. I totally get that. I'm not as coordinated as I used to be. That's for sure. So I need to do this. It's absolutely true. There's things called ear crystals. They would technically
We're ready to start. Thank you all for coming. I want to welcome you. We want to tell you a little bit about the sport of fencing. We're from Sal Darm Bosco Fencing Center. And I know that sounds like a weird name. Everybody wants to know if we have relatives named Sal or if his name is Sal. But what it means, French is the international language of fencing. And what Sal Darm means, Sal means school, in French, is of, arms. So it's school of arms or school of weaponry. So that's a traditional name for a fencing school. It's kind of odd. Okay, so we fence with 3 different weapons. So we have the foil, which is the smallest weapon, and it was used as a training weapon. And you score with the point. And the target area is the trunk of the body. This is the épée. Épée came from a dueling weapon. Again, you hit with the point in order to score. But the target for this is your whole body. And because your fingers are part of the target, that's why this bell guard is so big. The third weapon that we use is the saber. Saber was done on horseback. In saber, you hit with a point to get a touch, a score, or you hit with the side of the weapon, like that. So because there was a lot of slashing going on, definitely want to guard the knuckles. So that's why we have bell guard that kind of circles all the way around, protects your knuckles. Today we're going to be demonstrating the foil. Okay, so I want to introduce the folks that are here. This is Charlie Bosco. He is our, he's the proprietor, head coach, mentor. Okay, and just want to catch up where I am. And this is Jennifer Gray, and this is Martha Gray. Martha is one of our most active competitors. So it's very important to understand that fencing, although it's a martial sport, is also very genteel. It springs from the days of chivalry. And so one of the things that we do is we do a salute to one another. Will you salute with me? We salute one another before each lesson. We salute one another before each fencing bout and competition. And this is how we do it. Take the mask. This is called a mask, not a helmet. Take that, tuck it in under your arm. Stand in this position, just kind of odd.
Sorry, I always have.
Up like this and swoop it down. That's the salute.
The reason we bring it up to the nose is that in the old days, there was a torch bar there, and they were Christians, so they would kiss the cross. But they're both Christians, so we're not sorted out.
So, I'm hoping that the kids here watch the salute carefully, because I'm going to ask for 6 volunteers to come up here. Anybody want to come up here? We won't stop anybody. Yeah, we're not going to see one. Okay, you too. Okay, one more. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. Okay, so I want you to, okay, so kind of spread out and face your audience. Spread out a little bit.
Roland.
And face your audience. Okay, so you're, we don't have enough masks to do this. Okay, that's right. That's right. No, this is easier without. Yeah, it's easier without masks. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. As you're facing your audience, facing mom and dad, I just want you to bring this up to your face and sweep it down. But as we sweep down, you guys that are standing together, you're going to accidentally hit each other. So you really need to spread way out. Spread way out. You're great. He's got really long arms. You may want to do, or you can do like every other. Yes. Okay, so. And go forward a step. Yeah, and you stay back. There you go. Forward. That way, there we go. Okay, now, I need to tell you the most important thing about fencing is you never walk around with the foil like this, because look at where my foil would be pointing. So you always keep the foil down low until if you have an opponent around, until they have their mask on. And you guys are not going to need a mask because you're just facing the audience, okay? So I want you to lift the foil up like this and sweep it down. Not real hard, in case you do hit something, okay? So it's up like this and down, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody good? Now I'm going to hand you the foil. You don't lift it up yet. Do you want me to use the one side? Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you, Mark. Okay, keep it facing down
If
to
it has
the
a
ground.
T, that means top. Are you looking
So we're ready.
Okay. So you see the T? It's going to go on the top.
Yeah, just
Keep it down.
okay. So, first I want you to salute the whole audience. Okay, bring it up to your face. Okay, and sweep it down. Good job. So, that's okay, that's cute. Cute gets you really far. Okay, so try it again. We're going to lift it back up to the, okay, lift it back up. Now the weapon, the point is supposed to go to your right. That's it. Good job. Okay, so again, I want you to salute the audience. Ready, go. Nice. Now, lift it back up again, and I want you specifically to salute your mom or dad who's here with the camera. And look at them and you salute. Ready? Salute. Okay, that was great. Now, I want to let you know that after the demonstration, thank you, we are going to have a little photo op where we'll set your child up, you know, for a nice picture you can take, okay? And I think you'll think it's really fun, and so that's what we're going to do. Once the demonstration is over, we're going to set up one of those photo opportunities over here and one on that side as well. Okay, so now I would, okay, you guys can go on back. Now I would like to turn it over to our mentor, Sally.
We've been fencing quite a while. Even though I look like I'm 21, I'm really much older than that. I've been teaching over 60 years, and my wife's been competing over 40 years, so we've got 100 years of experience. We've been doing this a long time. She's going to get mad, but my wife's going to tough. She's a champion. She's been on a Veterans, which is the over 50 team. She's represented the United States 8 years in a row. She medaled in Croatia a few years ago in the World Championships. And she also, before we had children, was top 24 in the country. She was on the Olympic squad. So, she gets mad when I do this, but sometimes the coach I take good. Okay, another thing for the little ones. When I was young, I had broom handles and trash can covers, and we did all this nice stuff. Don't do it. In fencing, if you're really careless, you can get a bruise. We wear these for a very good reason. Eyes don't grow back. So if you guys are going to do it, don't. You put out an eye, you can't say, oops, it doesn't grow back. You don't go to the doctor, he doesn't help you out. There's no eye. So don't do it. Bruises will heal, but don't do it. Okay. So, this is a foil, and it's never been a weapon. It's a training instrument. People who wanted to practice fencing didn't want to get themselves killed, so they came up with this. They have rules, and the rules are that the target is only the body, just the torso, because that's the kill zone essentially. So get your. No, not you guys. You guys have got some. Just you.
Just you. Okay. You board one.
Yeah. We salute. And now, just to show you, this is just a few moves to show you just what it's like. This is any combat sport. I make an invitation, she hits it, boom. Okay? I'm good. Right? As I make an invitation, boom. I'm good. I make an invitation, now she makes it feint. Disengage. Boom. Okay? Feint, you go for blade, I missed it. All combat sports have feints. In fact, football players have feints. When they run out with the ball, they make the blocker go someplace else. Okay, make a change beat ahead. Head. Now parry me. Now when I go to hit her, she hits me back. Okay? And I can put it back too, and she does it. When she do this, I walk down the same thing. Just like the movies. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, when you see the movies, it's not fencing. Just like Rocky's not boxing. Okay? It's theater. And there's a reason for it. It's exciting. When you see fencing in the movies, it's very exciting. And the weapons are larger. So the movements in the movies are larger because it's movies. And secondly, if the weapons are larger, instead of just hitting like this, I now have to take this big weapon and do this. Okay? I've got a claymore in the back, which is, I guess, Celtic. Yes. I can show you guys. Okay? Now, you can do this now. What? Yeah, no, that's right. They're gonna fence, we're not gonna keep score, because even if I kept score, you wouldn't know what it is, but this is mother and daughter. It's like, you know the mother's gonna let the daughter in.
Does not.
Okay, so, we just wanted to see what it looks like. It's not that exciting, I mean, as far as keeping score. When I say, this is usually done in French, but in the United States we use English. I say, ready, on guard, and fence. Okay, ready?
Touche.
Oh, back, no, coming back, she got the touch. Don't worry about it when you saw it. Ready? Fence. Oh, nice. If you, in case you missed it, she made a nice feint, the mother went for it, she deceived it, and then went in. Okay? Not nice to
You're
put
too close, Jennifer, to the wall.
Not nice to put them on like that. Ready? Fence. Oh, well, stop. Go to hit. That's it. Okay, one more. What?
Please.
All right. Flesh. Okay, the word flesh comes from the French word arrow. Okay, it's a running attack. Okay, she likes to do it. The thing is that it's an all or nothing attack, because once it's over, you run past your opponent. Just a beat attack. Ready? Get closer. Go. Yeah, that's what's parry.
Yeah.
It's like she knew it was coming.
Good.
That works better when you don't see it. Yeah, totally.
Get closer. Go.
I failed.
What you do, if you see somebody who's very well trained, it's in the air, it looks like an arrow.
Do it. If she doesn't care.
Okay, so if you're going to do it, come back here a little bit. So you don't run into the wall.
Okay.
Don't worry about
Now that we've got Celtic games here, this is a claymore. Those who are in the military know claymore doesn't look like this, it's something else. This is a replica, this is not real. It's still sharp. But you can see why you can't make small movements with something this large. You stop an attack like this, you hit with the elbow first and move in, because you got to get the momentum going. You're trying to cut through a shield or something. All right? Just to give you an idea on some history. Swords were around for years. What they were big knives. And you cut somebody, you got a shield, and I got a bigger shield, I've got a bigger sword, two-handed swords, whatever. Something came around that changed everything, and it was probably gunfire, gunpowder. Now with a little hole you can put somebody down. And that big knight's outfit that you had is now useless, you're a big slow target. So, the Spanish came up with the rapier, which had no cutting edge, just a point. And they found out that you didn't need a shield, and you only had to make us a hole in the right place, and it was very effective. You didn't have to wait till the guy bleed to death while you were cutting him. I know it's morbid, that's war. And so that's what the rapier became. That's why this blade everything is just a point. Because now you don't have to have a shield. The blade itself becomes your shield. And there's dueling and there's all kinds of things that we can. We're going to be at the back table later. You can ask any questions you want. If you got questions now, ask. That's a good demonstration. Okay, thank you. So,
so the photo ops, like I said, they're going to be up here. Martha's going to be running one, and you can kind of just hang out. Well, yeah. And I'm going to be running the other one. And so if you want to have your, you need to come up and take the picture. So I'm just going to. Okay, come